Right. I might use this just as a guidelines as the continuation of my talk, but I would like to speak more from my heart than that from the what is there in the slides. You are free to ask. I do not know, Professor Krishnan can brief me whether I can take a question in middle or all questions should be at the end of the session. So this session will go roughly for 1 hour or so, and after that you can take a question or you can ask a question whichever way. So as per the organizers, I'm okay with whichever way you would like to go for. Right? So the main focus of this is to talk basically about blockchain points to very little extent, and then talk more about what are the research prospects as far as the blockchain is concerned, and in India, because I'll talk about it why India I was selected, and why not the globe, because the blockchain is a IoT type of a thing where we can go across the globe and we can do the research. Right? So I'll tell you why specific India. Right? So this is what we are going to talk about. What is blockchain? Definition and properties. How it works. Some of the definitions, node, block, hash, which as a researcher we should know. Then another very important concept, which is the mining proof of work. Okay? And what happens inside the transaction. I'm sorry, the inside transaction should come as the next point. What is a block? And the last two topics I would like to spend maximum time. What are the challenges for blockchain? And I'm talking about challenges very specific to India. And what are the opportunities very specific to India? Because India, with this COVID-19, is emerging as one of the hot economy globally, and entire globe is looking at India, whether India can give very disruptive solutions for the problem that the globe is facing in this COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll go ahead. I like to put this. Okay. For every complex problem, there is an answer that is clear, simple, and wrong. So I would like to highlight that word. That's why I made it bold, wrong. So every is, and that's what I say. Technology is a double-edged weapon, and second one, which is very, which I like the most. Technology gives you the solution, which is bad, and that's why that word wrong comes. Please listen. Technology gives me a solution which is bad. Without it, it could have been the worst. This is what two definitions I take about technology, and from there my research starts as far as technology is concerned. So don't worry about whether your solutions research is bad. Okay, it is in thing about the technology, right? So without the calculating, if you do not do that bad research also, it would have been it can be a very worst thing to happen. Right? So please continue doing research in IT, even if it is a bad. Right. This is what I like this. Okay, wherever I go, whichever course I take, I put this as my first slide everywhere. Okay, and this is just imagine almost 25-year back story, 1995, when one Mr. Kellogg Stoll has wrote, "Do our computer pundits lack all common sense? The truth is, no online database will replace your daily newspaper. No CD-ROM can take the place of competent teacher. No computer networks will change the way government works." Right? And after 25 years, what he said proves to be extremely wrong. Today, at 25 years, if I say I am reading New York Times, it was a wrong thing, and they write that my friends used to laugh at me. Okay, he is just boasting. If I say today I am reading a physical paper, they will laugh at me. What is this person? And I can read online paper. Right? Teachers, we never said that we would like to go beyond talk and talk. Talk and talk considered to be the most comfortable media for us to teach. Nowadays, it should have been happening much earlier than this, but it is now forced by COVID. Some of the good things that COVID-19 did, and that is what one is teaching. So we have gone to online teaching, online seminars. This webinar would have not been possible. I would have not been able to communicate with you, talk with you, get your opinion, get your expert comments if COVID-19 was not there. Right? So this is what the competent teachers were there. Of course, I also believe in that chalk and talk is the best way to teach. But still, online teaching has given us a different paradigm. It has given us a different platform. It has given us a different pitch by which a teacher can come out with a different solution for his teaching. I would have never, in fact, my wife is a science teacher and she would have never taught the diagram of heart with some animation. She said that I will draw the heart and I will do it. Okay? And I have seen some people drawing heart with a foot um, vessel of it, which is a wrong thing. It should start it first and then it should go to second, third, fourth. But this is I like the fourth one, so I go with fourth one. But this COVID has forced us to go online, use different medias and so forth. And this is what Professor Carol Storr has said 1995 is proves wrong. And one that is there is what kind of changes will blockchain application bring in next 2 decades that according to some experts can be even more destructive than those produced by the internet so far. I'm now comparing two statements, one which was done in 1995 by the Storr and one which is done today. They said that we do not know the blockchain application in next 2 decades, what it can do, we do not know. These are the experts, and not one expert. It is experts, as I said, who are doing this. This is first. Second one, what new Google, Amazon, Alibaba's, Facebook will surface exploiting the advantage of emerging blockchain technology. Just imagine, these are the Google started as a search engine and it is one of the biggest analytical companies, biggest advertising companies, biggest marketing company. Amazon say that we will sell only. Now they sell anything and everything. Right? Say we can see Alibaba started as a very small application. It has become a global leader. Facebook, you will check out 10 years back and now. I bought my first account 10 years back and I said, okay, it's a very dry, not dynamic. Now I will, before Facebook, you tell me what I cannot do on Facebook. Okay, I'm teaching a subject called as MIS and I'm using Facebook as a media to teach how the e-commerce can be done using Facebook. Free platform, free things, and still I can do the things. So two statements, one which was done in 1995 and one which is being done in after 2010, right? Some of the misconception, one is Bitcoin is considered as the blockchain, or blockchain and Bitcoin are the synonym. Please, yeah.
Vithalji,
Yeah,
may I
please.
interrupt? There is a general opinion that the audio is not clear.
Yeah.
Can you use a headset if possible?
Okay. What I will do is just give me 1 minute.
Okay. Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it clear now? Hello?
Yeah, better. Is it possible to use a headset?
Yeah, we don't have a headset over here because this is a very sensible mic which we are using. So what I have done is I have brought that mic near to me.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. So I will also speak with a louder volume so that it becomes much clearer. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Good. So Bitcoin is not a blockchain. We have been saying what is Bitcoin. Okay, but only thing is that Bitcoin is being powered by blockchain, or it goes in complement with each other. We will see what is Bitcoin vis-a-vis what is blockchain in the subsequent slides. This is another slide which I would like to see, observe and be very clear about this. Again, I'm talking about something about 1995 and 2019, just this last year. And this is what the Walmart, sorry, this is what I got it from the net, from the Fortune this. And you can check out the companies which were there in 1995 as the top 10 companies. Hardly anyone makes into 2019. I'm not getting the data for 2020 as of now, but I think the list won't be different. This list would not be different from what we have seen in 1990. None of these companies, except for oil and gas, none of these companies you can see over here, and you can check out. I would like to tick mark some company, except for these two companies. One is this, and second one is this. Except for these two companies, okay, all are virtual companies. You can check. See, all companies are virtual company, including this. Okay, and this company has gone in the top list of 4 just because they are using what is the topic for today's discussion, that is nothing but the blockchain. Okay, so this is what the start with I would like to view. So if this can happen, that means the technology is playing a big game. The blockchain is playing a big game. And if we do not understand blockchain now, if we do not do the research now in blockchain, we will lose in the play in coming years, right? So this is what the thing which is there. I will share this all articles at the end. If you want, I can send the copies of this article. So very nice article. You must read this. Some 10, 20 articles which is there, which has talked about this. Right? So we will see why we need blockchain. If this is what's going to happen from 1995, if none of the company comes in 2019, okay, why we need blockchain? Okay, why we need the blockchain? That's what we would like to talk about in the next slide. Okay, so why we need blockchain? The first one is bring trust. Okay? Now, what is trust is, I do not know how many of you know, it is, I do not know how safe to keep our hard-earned money in the banks. I do not know. When registrations, government, I do not know how safe they are. Okay? And when it goes to the court of law, it takes its sweet turn, it takes its sweet time to come with a decision. Okay. So, is there any other way for us to safeguard our cash, hard-earned cash, and no other party can have a check on us, right? So this is what the thing is. So I need blockchain because it brings some amount of trust in me. So even if I say, even if I'm a technological person, and whenever I want to do transfer, I say no, I will give a check or you give me a check. Please do not transfer by NEFT and so on and so forth. Online transfer, I avoid, in spite of the fact that I do small transactions to buy online item, but whenever somebody transfers a cash or when I want to transfer a cash, I prefer to give this. So the trust is one thing as far as the blockchain is concerned. Second one is decentralization. Okay, many years we were thinking that centralization is the key. Centralization is the key for the databases. Right now, we say decentralization is the key for the success of any system. Now, what I mean by decentralization is what Indian database is following. Indian database has got at least 10 to 20 different servers, and all these servers is having all data. That means if it is said if the entire world goes off, it blasts off, okay, Earth blast off, we are not there, till Indian database will run. www.irtcc.com will run because of the strong network which is there. And they are using the Indian network, Indian database, such a big thing, they are using decentralization. Blockchain technology is the backbone is decentralization. The next one is removes middleman. Removes middleman. You might ask, when I do a transaction in bank, okay, where is the middleman? I work with a bank. It's not that. We are not been given the real view of how the bank works. Whenever you do a transaction, it is not you and a bank. It is you and another person, you and a business, you and your friend. So two entities are doing business. And in these two entities, I can tell you minimum three things comes in middle. And these are what we call as middlemen. The first one is your bank. Second one is the person with whom, or the company or the organization, entrepreneur with whom you are doing business, his or her bank. Okay. And third one is the person who does the handshake between these two banks. Right. Also, you can now know that RBI is controlling everything. So RBI also becomes a middleman. They might not ask for any commission for this, but there are too many people coming into this, which might not get me big cost, but yes, it might lead me to a big risk. I can assure you, all the people who are gathered over here have got some time or other such type of fake calls, and only the God must have saved to say saved us because we said no to them. Right? Blockchain removes all these middlemen, so the risk factor goes down, cost factor also goes down. We'll talk about the cost factor a little later in the one of the slides. Like the history of this one, only one thing I would like to say is that someone called as Satoshi Nakamoto is one person who thought that, yeah, these three things should be taken care of: risk factor, decentralization, for giving a new technology so that I can save upon the risk that the people are taking. And in one of his paper, I was lucky to get this paper, white paper. One of my friends has sent from US, and you should read this paper now. It is online also available freely. You can download and you can read this. And he says that we should go for the new currency, and this currency should be safe, and we should also get a medium to deal with this currency. And these two terms he has invented, he has given a thought to. One was blockchain, second one was the Bitcoin. Right. So this is a brief, very brief history about what has happened with the Bitcoin and the blockchain. Surprisingly, both these technologies were getting emerged simultaneously, and proving to be a substitute, or proving to be the handshake between these. And that's why many times we say Bitcoin and the blockchain are the same, right? So I would like to talk only and only on the blockchain. Some of the properties that I would like to talk about the blockchain over here, and then we'll see how these properties of blockchain is been getting implemented by the technology. The first one is an open, immutable, and distributed database or the ledger. Okay. The thing, one thing which is there is open. So when I say open, that means I have got now freedom which party, which service provider I should go to. So I need not have to go to only nationalized bank. I need not have to go to only the private sector bank. I need not have to go to only the one particular agency. I can now go to anyone. It's open. You can also start your own blockchain as a service provider. You can do that, right? Second one is disintermediation. What it means by that? P2P, it stands for people to people or person to person. What it means is that I do not have now any person between me and the person who is a beneficiary of me for this any of the transactions. So I will be directly choosing which service provider to follow for doing the transaction. And that's why we say it's P2P, and service provider also comes just to give us the platform or pitch so that the transaction is possible. Beyond that, the middleman do not have any role to play. It's only the service provider that happens, right? Second one is consensus based. That means it cannot be hacked. Touch wood, so far there is no cases that has been reported about a blockchain which has been hacked, or Bitcoin currency is getting hacked. So it is not hackable. It is hack proof. Forget about hack proof. Hacking is okay, but then what happens beyond that is cracking. So even cracking this, although it is open, it is distributed, it becomes really difficult for these hackers or crackers to crack this system. So it is a 100% trust worthy system, right? Second one is, the next one is trustless transfer of values, right? So I do not have to trust anyone. Okay, the trust has to be, the trust is being built about the transfer. And so the transaction, this goes with regard to the first one, it is hack proof. The trust goes, of course, the difference between the third point and first one, that when I said hack proof or crack proof and the trustless transfer of value, what it means is there is a difference. When I do a transaction online, whenever I am doing a transaction online, what happens is, many a times you might have also witnessed this, when you transfer to NEFT, the person at the other end says, I have not received your cash. Okay, and then for another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or half an hour, you are tense, you ask the bank, you call the bank, and bank says that your transaction is not complete, it is cancelled, and within another half an hour or so, that money will be deposited back to your account. That means, just imagine the moment you have done the transaction, till you get that, if the transaction is cancelled, till you get that money back, it takes minimum 15 to half an hour. Just imagine. That means till half an hour you are under tension, that whether the money will come back or what will happen. So I do not know what is the status of my transaction, right? So this is what I'm talking about, the transaction. This is a different thing. Hacking is by third party. Even if you are not doing any transaction, he'll come to your account and siphon off the money from your account. Over here, when the two people do the handshake, none of the bank can guarantee that the transaction will be successful. Even if it rolls back, it is not guaranteed. Right? But blockchain guarantee you, once you do a transaction, immediately that transaction will happen to you, because it is decentralized. And I'll talk to it about what is this decentralization little later in one of my slides. There is no central authority. Now, whatever the transaction which you are doing, our big brother RBI is watching us. So even if you transfer 100 rupees, RBI sniff into it and check whether that transaction is a valid transaction or not. Okay, and all the time he's watching us for this. Over here, nobody is watching us, but still there is a check on my account for the safety of my account. It's not because they want to see what transaction I am doing. So even if you do 10,000 rupee transaction or 10 billion transaction, the blockchain is not getting affected by any of this. They will not see why this happens and so on and so forth. But and that's how there's no central authority. And I'll tell you one more best thing is that there are a lot many service providers for blockchain, or agent for this, or miner for this. So each time when I do a transaction, each time this miner or central authority or the observer or the service provider changes. So it's not, if the randomly a one person is selected and that person is given authority to do the transaction. So he do not know, she do not know how much the transaction is, and so on and so forth. Right? So that is no central authority for me. And the last one is changed by the cryptography. Right? This follows not 16-bit, not 32-bit, 132-bit cryptography is followed. There are different algorithms that have been followed, and almost all these algorithms are being hacked by best of the best hackers or crackers, and they said, we are sorry, we cannot hack this. Okay, and this is tried and tested, whatever the cryptography that has been followed by blockchain, which makes the system very robust and trustworthy, and we can do the transaction without any fear, right? So some of the definition which is there. One definition which we have is something known as distributed ledgers. The ledger is the same terminology that we are using with regard to our bank, with regard to our accounts, with regard to our finance, with regard to our all instruments which we use to do any financial transactions, the same concept. But only thing is that we have only one ledger. I have only one account. I have whatever that happens, it happens to that account. And I have got only one cash book. I have got only one what you call as category. I have got only one balance sheet and so on and so forth. But when it comes to a blockchain, we do not have one ledger. There are multiple copies of ledger kept by the blockchain, and these ledgers are getting dynamically updated when we do transactions. If any person sniffs into any of this ledger, okay, all other ledgers get activated just to check whether um, account, that transaction is valid or not. Okay, and this depends upon the technology which I talked about, decentralized and the cryptography. So some of the terms which were there with regard to distributed ledger is this distributed ledger, and the transaction is that decentralized network and cryptography, right? Which makes this ledger very strong, very secure, and I get something called as immutable block. And it is not block but block. So I was all the time was saying it is not ledger, it is ledgers. So it's everything in cryptography, everything in blockchain works on duplication. So everything is duplicated. So whatever, of course, I will not say duplicate, triplicates, quadruplets, multiplicates, what I do not know. So I do not know how many accounts, how many copies of my ledgers will be there, right? As far as the blockchain is concerned, and which makes very difficult for hackers or crackers to crack my account. So this is what the definition of the what you call this, the blockchain technology, right? Some of the other definition is a blockchain is not just atomic entity. It's not an atomic entity. It's a molecular entity. And when I say not atomic and what is molecular, atomic means it's one standalone entity. No, it's not. It's a molecular. When I say it has got many different components, and those components are node, right? It refers to client who owns the block. Okay, of course, I'll come to the block little later, and from this concept of block, the name came as blockchain. And of course, you know what is blockchain. That means I'm having a chain of different blocks. So the fundamental building block of the blockchain technology is a block. That is a block, and I say it's a bundle of transaction. I'll show you one of example how the block looks like, okay, and how it happens. Right? I was having a video also, but I do not know whether I can show that video within this today's time. A simulation of this all blockchain technology, how it happens, how the block is created, and why we say it is a secure. This is first one is a node. Node is nothing but a single block, which is there. The second one is transaction, which is something happens, the handshake that happens between two parties, and what we usually say is P2P. This transaction is usually from P to P, which is person to person, people to people, party to party, okay, whatever you want to say. Block is the fundamental component or the fundamental unit of the entire technology, the block, okay. It's nothing but I got different transactions, and I combine all these transactions. I'll come to this transaction. I'll show this everything to you in the subsequent slides. Okay. So when I have this all transaction clubbed together, I call it the block. So what I say is that when I transfer my money from my account to someone else's account, so that becomes a transaction. So when I say it is a transaction, in conventional way, in bank, it is just one entity. So 5,000 take from my account, 5,000 deposited into the beneficiary's account. So that is what the transaction in conventional way. But when it happens over here, this one transaction of taking out 5,000 from my account has got all other things which goes in detail. Right? So we'll see one of this block in the subsequent slide, and at that time I'll answer this, it will become more clear for you why we call it as bundle of transaction. Minor is the person who makes this transaction happens, or who makes this block to go from my account to the beneficiary's account. So minor is the one which is there. So we say minor burns energy to create blocks, gets reward for block by block rewards or the transaction fees. So he's a person, the miner is a person who makes the block for once I put a request saying that, okay, well, I want this transaction, I want to transfer this money from my account to my friend's account. Okay. Moment I say this, one of the miner, okay, many miners can be, okay, one of the miner is selected and the task is given to him to transfer my amount to someone else's amount. The moment this authority is given to this miner, and there are many miners and they are chosen randomly. So when I do transaction 1 and when I do transaction 2, I might get a different miner, I might get a different miner, and so on and so forth. Right? So and that this becomes very difficult for the hacker to hack, because there are many bundles, there are many miners. So and we are using 132 and cryptography and beyond that. In fact, there is a very special cryptography that is specifically done for the blockchain. Different service providers are having different cryptographic algorithm. It's not right that when we say secure transaction, the bank says only when the transaction is going on net, that time it is secure. Once it is received or once it is there with either bank, it is not secure. That's what we say, that secure point-to-point transaction. Okay, so that means still we have about 50% risk. Over here, there's no risk at all because I am not doing anything. Nobody knows who is doing it. Okay, even then, there's something called the cryptography which is there. Okay, even then, I am not transferring the hardcore cash. I'm transferring a Bitcoin, which might have different values at different point in time. That means, at one point in time, one Bitcoin might have 10 rupee value. The same Bitcoin might have 100 rupee value, or that same 100 Bitcoins can have 1 rupee value. So that Bitcoin value happens. So everything becomes very virtual, and that's why the hackers are not been able to hack. So that's what makes the blockchain technology very different. So miner is a person who makes everything this one. So if miner is doing something, okay, free of cost, okay, every time, why you should do a charity every time? Why you should do a charity? By spending so much of attention and so on and so forth. At the same time, he also is responsible to make the authenticity, security possible for the every transaction. Why you should do? And he should do it because of something called as block rewards. So every miner will get a block reward. Okay, so any miner which is randomly selected will get a block reward. So it is nothing but a coin. A new coin is created, which we call as Bitcoin, and this coin with each block, when the transaction is successful with each block which he creates, we go to the miner's account. So miner will now have the source of revenue also. Right? So whatever he has invested will get back. Right? And who pays for miner? Who pays this fees for miner? It is the small percentage of the transaction value which goes to the miner. It's the person who is in the transaction, okay, who is in the transaction will pay for this. And if you might think that this might be a big amount and so on and so forth, you can say percentage of a small percentage of the transaction value. That means if you are doing a transaction of 10,000, as per that transaction, you will get the fees charged from your account. If it is 1 lakh, as per 1 lakh, the transaction fees will be charged. It's not like 25 rupees is been whatever you withdraw, 25 rupees is deducted from your account after the 5 transactions, right? And you are not allowed to withdraw more than 10,000, 15,000 at one transaction. Over here, no limit on this. So that becomes the transaction much more feasible for anyone, and this is a small percent. I'll tell you, this value is as small. Many a time, many of the service provider charge you this much percent as a transaction fee. Just 0.0001% of your transaction as this one. Of course, I also know many of them charge 1% also. But that all depends upon how much the risk you are ready to take, or how much risk you don't want to take. So that varies from that. But if it is for my savings account, or for my personal account, or for my this one, so if it is P2P, person to person, okay. If it is B2B, the transaction fees might go higher because the value transfer is much higher, right? But it is a small transaction fee, and this is what goes to the miner. So this is how the miner will get his fees, transaction fees, and he can sustain himself. And this is also called as a block reward. So many times it is called as a block reward, right? So this is what I was talking about, how this entire thing works, right? The user makes a request. The end user makes a request, okay, so that I would like, so this is my first fee, I would like to do the transaction, and this is what we call as the transaction initialization, okay, which makes the transaction clear. So I'm not saying the block creation, this is a transaction creation. So once the transaction creation is done, it goes for the broadcast of the transaction. This is a place. This is a place I select my miner. Okay. Of course, when I means it's not me. It's not me. The technology selects the miner randomly from this. This transaction is being verified. This transaction is being verified, and you might think that because the miner is being selected, this miner will verify this. No, all the copies of my account which is there available on blockchain, all those are being verified. So even if one miner says, no, this is not the right transaction, the transaction is declined. Let's see, even if one miner says that this transaction is not a valid transaction, the transaction is declined and the transaction is stopped, and you are not allowed to proceed further with the transaction, right? This is one thing check that happens. Once everybody says, all the miners says yes, including the miner which has been assigned to you, that's the point in time this miner, whichever is been selected for you, given a right to create a block. So this is where your miner who has been selected this time to propagate this transaction gets the right, and he creates the block. He creates the transaction block, and this block is attached. Okay, so it gets attached to something called a chain in the next stage. It gets attached to in the next stage. So the blocks are added to a chain. And what is chain? You might ask a question, what is chain? Chain is nothing but the list of all the transactions that has been done by you in past, right? So it is all the transaction that has been done by you in past is what we call as the chain. So if that means what? If I do a transaction today, the moment the block gets added, although it gets checked over here, although it is verified in the stage number 3, that's over here, okay, here again it gets checked, because moment it gets, it is till here, till this part, it's a standalone. Till here is standalone block. So when all details about the current transaction is there, all details about the current transactions is there. The moment I shift to the next one, this block gets added to the chain, and chain waits. If this block gets added to the chain, and chain waits for the authentication from the all blocks which are the previous blocks. So all previous blocks goes on checking whether this transaction can be authorized or not. If I say I want 10,000 rupees to be transferred, and over here if in mind, and this is where at this point in time it checks in your current account. It checks with your account whether that 10,000 is there and so on and so forth. Okay, but when it goes over here, if you have withdrawn, it can happen between these two things, between this and this. It might so happen that you might be a clever person or intelligent person and you withdraw some cash. Okay, that means what? The transaction is happening, transaction is one bundle and it is authenticated and it is now going for the payment. So even if you do not have the money, this block will pay to the your party the amount that you have been that amount you have been notified, right? Now when this happens, okay, before it authorizes the transaction, it goes and attach itself. This block which has been created in the stage number 4 gets attached itself to the blockchain. It gets attached to the blockchain. So this block, whichever was created here, gets attached over here into the blockchain. What is a blockchain means? Each block is one transaction. So it has got a list of all the transactions which was done before this transaction. So when it gets attached, automatically like a ripple effect, it will go on and on and on, back, and we just check whether this can be authorized for the payment to the beneficiaries, right? This is a place wherein actual dynamic authorization happens, and if it is not there, this transaction is being declined. It's not only to check the accounts, this not only to check how much is the amount which is there in your account, but it does lot many other things, right? And this happens at a very high speed. If we might think that okay, if it is 5 or 6 things which happen, why I should go? It will take half an hour. No, it does not take even a slice of a second. It happens that quickly, right? So some of the things which we have to think about now. So I have said the block happens and block goes as one of the nodes. So what is a node? A node is a client which owns the block. Okay. So what we call as the P, a person, becomes my node. A copy of the ledger operated by participants of a blockchain network. So we have seen some of these definitions earlier. We see some more definitions now. Okay, and this is about a node. We have seen what is a block. I'll show you once I talk about node. I'll show you how the block looks like and how it gets attached. Right. If the time permits, I'll show you that video also. A node is a client. Okay? A copy of the ledger operated by a participant of a blockchain network. That means what? Whatever the transaction that a person does, the node is a copy of that. Okay. Second and third thing is it contains one or more than one account. That means we now do not have to say which account it comes from. So you only first, as a client, you have to, as a beneficiary, as a account holder, only you have to say that okay, I am having 5 accounts, okay, and when I'm transferring money, some total should be taken from this account. Not only that, I can say that 10% will take from this account, 20% from this. You can customize that. Also, we'll see it little later. Okay, so it contains one or more than one account. So nowadays, if I go to the shopping mall and if I carry only one card, or even if I carry 2 cards, they might have to do 2 different transactions. One is from one bank account, another from another bank account. Forget about that. Even if both the cards are from the same bank, then also I am supposed to do 2 different transactions. Over here, no. Once these all accounts are linked with one particular blockchain, and when you instruct them how much money should come from which account and so on and so forth, you need not have to worry about anything, right? And as the last, I said miner, okay, which is nothing but an account. So miner is a person who manages your transaction at that point in time. So this is what a node is. So node has got these 4 features, which is that. What is block? And if this is what node is, what is a block? Okay, block is a bundle of transactions. I'll come to that. I'll show you what that bundle of transactions means. Contains previous block hash. Okay, this is what I was talking about. What do you mean by block hash? That means when moment if I want to draw it over here, It's like this. I have one block which was done on the 1st of September. I have got another block which is created on the 10th of September. Then I have got another block which is created on 15th of September. Again on 15th of September, I create another block. Okay, so and so and so on. And today I create a block. Today I create a block. So 26/9, I create a block. Now this block has to get attached to the previous one. Has to get attached to the previous one, and whatever happens, the way in which this block knows that this is the last block in a chain, okay, is by something called as a block hash. So this block, the last block, passes the hash to the next block so that the connection between the two blocks can be done, and that the one which talks the previous block, the last block in your account chain, which says this hash, okay, is called as a block hash. It's called as a block hash, right? So all blocks are linked using that block hash. So I can say that I will have everything in my this one block. So if this is my block, okay, I will have a lot of things in this block. How much is the transaction date, time, how much is the balance in my account, who is the person to whom this money has to be transferred, or from whom this money should be think, and I have a hash. So I got the two things in my block. One is this part and one is this part. This part has got no role to play in your transaction. The role of this part, the hash part, is only to give this as a link to the new block. It is the only function of this hash block hash is to give a link of the last block in a chain to the new block which is getting created, right? So this is what the blocks are. So these are the four things as far as the block is concerned. And when the block is done, verified by different miners, verified by the miner who has been assigned this transaction, it gets attached to the chain. It gets attached to the chain, and moment it gets attached to the chain, whatever the transaction amount which has to go from this person's account to another person's account happens. Exactly the reverse happens. Exactly the same thing happens at the beneficiary's side also. So there are now two blocks that are being done. One is at your side and one is at his side. Okay. So this is what the block thing happens. Okay. So I talked about the hash. I will not talk more about hash over here. It's a cryptographic hash function. So there's some inbuilt procedure to create this hash, and this algorithm to create hash varies from time to time. Okay. This is how one particular block looks like. So I have got first block, and hash of this is 1. Of course, this is not the way it is done. It is still more complicated. It will go into almost 16, 17 digits, the block hash. Another block is having another block hash. And this block hash is used to connect these two blocks. That's what I have said, right? In addition to this, I have got noise. Okay, each block is having its this one. Over here, all your data will come to which to which party this transaction should happen, how much is the transaction, what is the level of transaction. If you want a particular miner to be selected manually or by rather than automatically giving it to any person, you can mention it over here, right? I have said something about this. I said the blockchain. So this is a block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, and block 5. So these are the 5 blocks which are there. I said that this gets connected by copying the address of the previous one, right? Now this is not also enough. Just if in case if this gets corrupted, that means what will happen? This link also will get broken up, and then that transaction is lost. The entire blockchain goes for the toss, and the security, authenticity of blockchain comes into the picture. So what we do is we do not do one, but both the parties, there's the hash address of the next one and the previous one. So one block has got two addresses, the hash address of previous one, hash address of the next one, right? And this is what been shown over here when I said previous and hash. This is a hash address of the previous one. So that means this block must have got added or was linked with the previous someone. So that back tracking becomes possible, forward tracking becomes possible. So this is how a particular block will look like, a very, very simple structure, not many complications and so on and so forth. Right? So now there are three things which are there. Of course, in addition to the transaction data, the one is noise, that is this. Second one is the block. And third thing is these two addresses, the previous and the current one. The previous and the current one. Right? So this is what this my block looks like. Right? Now we come to something called as, we have seen miner. The process that is being done by the miner is called as mining. The process which is being done by the miner is called as mining. So miner will create only this block. Miner will create only this block. The authenticity of this block will be verified by something called as the mining. The mining is a procedure. Mining is a procedure. Miner is the entity. Right? Mining is a procedure or process. Mining is the process, right? And the miner is the entity. So miner is the monitor. Mining is the process which is being done by the miner, right? Difficulty in proof of work mining. And so because mining is a very complex thing, that's why we have gone for this structure so that the mining becomes much easy. So that the mining become much easy for me, and the difficulty level is being reduced. Block also gives me another thing, that is proof of work. So whatever we have done at stage by stage, everything is been bundled into this block. So that's what we say proof of work. That's what we call as a proof of work. Right? So this is what the proof of work which we done, so that this gets bundled up in the block. Right? So this is a very peculiar transaction that happens. If you remember, noise is nothing but comes over here. It is nothing but which comes over here. Okay. Right? Gas limit, gas price, to value, and so on and so forth. These are the values of the person who initiate this thing. Okay. And also this is whom it should go. So this, when I say P2P, okay, this block now will have the values of this P and this P with a very much unique authenticated dynamic key which is being generated, by the block, right? Good. Right. This is what these things which are there, and if I want to pay for my gas bill, of course, in US and some parts of our country, the gas comes through the pipeline, and how I can generate the bill by using big blockchain technology is this is how we get it, right? So I would like to tell us many networks which are available for this, for doing this. There's one public network which is called as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on and so forth. There are some private players also like multi-chain, Monex, and so on and so forth. Something called as consortium, blockchain, R3, all that these are the thing. What to do in the consortium is when the organization do the transaction, it is very essential. It is very secure. Amount transfer is big amount. So I need not just one blockchain supplier, but I want multiple one. so that when two people checks, rechecks, the verification is much better. And for that purpose, the last point, which is what we call as a consortium blockchain, comes into the picture. So I have three types of blockchain networks. One is private, public, and consortium blockchains, right? Um, there are some other also which are service providers which are there. These are the names. One is Bitcoin Core, Ethereum, Ripple, List, all the Hyperledger. These are some of, not all of them are operational in India. Very few of them are operational in India. One is this Bitcoin Call is there. They are operational in India. Ripple was for some time operational in India. I do not know the status as of this month. Corda is there. Okay, Corda is also there operational in India. So these are the blockchain networks which are available, right? There is something called use cases. That means where it can be used. One is it can be used for working, government, supply chain, subsidiary distribution, okay, real-time money transfer, audit logs, sharing economy. So this is where the I can use the blockchain. This one. This is a diagram. Of course, I'll give you the article from where I got this. I'll give the article from where I got this diagram. Please look at this diagram. And if you want to venture into Bitcoin or blockchain applications, this is what the Pandora's box that is open for you. Of course, this is which I took from one article. I will share that article, or you can go and you can check out on the net. You get this, but this is just say how many areas this blockchain application can be there. You name it and it is there. What is the takeaway from what we have done so far? The first one is that, or the first this one, blockchain creates trust between untrusted parties. I do not trust the nationalized bank for doing my transaction. Now, forget about the banks. Come to the blockchain and you will get the trust. Okay. Second one is blockchain generalizes the smart contracts created by the global trust. Okay, so there is a smart this one. That's what I was talking about the miners. So if you do not do, go for this. Second one is third one is potential to disrupt many businesses. Very dangerous. If you can disrupt someone's business, someone also can disrupt your business also, right? So this is one. The third one is already huge investment for large financial institutions to disrupt the financial use cases. That means now financial institution also has realized the importance of the blockchain, and they also would like to come. Many, of course, this is what's happening in US. In India, it is yet to happen because we are still under the purview of the RBI. Small transaction can be done, small transaction or limited transactions is possible using blockchain, right? Then the last one is existing technology to investigate all people, right? That means, see, finally, although we have said trust is built, everything is built, finally the technology, right? And as I said, the famous saying that every block has got a duplicate key. This is also a one of a lock. It will also have a duplicate key. So I do not know so far whether that key is hidden or they are not found or it is not existing, right? But there is some this one, and that's why blockchain, from the technological prospect, is going faster and faster, so that it becomes more and more and more stringent. It becomes more and more foolproof. It becomes more and more secure. It becomes more and more trustworthy, right? Now this is what the challenges that blockchain is going to face, and this is what I am going to talk about specifically as far as the India is concerned. There are three challenges, and fourth one becomes the opportunity for me, right? The first one is technological, second one is legal, and third one is the social. So let me come first for the technological. The first thing in India, I'm talking specifically these challenges as far as India is concerned. The first one is digital divide. And although I might say that Indians have a highest number of cell phones, but still we do not know how to use it. And it might be by numbers, you have to check the percentage. The second one is the technological spec. The last mile program of Government of India is still not happening. That means last person in a village is not getting connected to the internet. That could be the one challenge for blockchain. Blockchain, because it's a huge investment. If the huge investment has to be recovered at a very low fees, then I should have a huge network, right? The third one is readiness and coverage. So we are not at ready. We are not at ready for the so many reasons for this. And the last one is bandwidth. The, in Goa, in the cities like Panjim, to get a good bandwidth is also a problem. Just imagine, the city, Panjim is the capital city of Goa. BSNL, almost everyone, private owners, every person is having the offices in Panjim. They are having a very sophisticated towers in Panjim. In spite of that, in some part of this capital city, Panjim, we have got the bandwidth problem. We have got the bandwidth problem in Panjim. When this happens in a city like Panjim, just imagine what can happen to the other states and other remote villages that is there. So that could become the biggest technological worry. We are not the technocrats, we are not the engineering students, we are not supposed to be worried about this, but we can use these parameters, 4 parameters to do a study, right? Second aspect that comes is the legal. Indian cyber laws are not are outdated. So we have to reframe all these cyber laws for this. I do not know how many of you know this. Unless and until hacking for your bank account happens about 4.5 lakhs, okay, cyber cell will not register the company as a cyber crime. So it is not a cyber crime. Just imagine for a poor farmer whose yearly income is not even 50,000. Okay, if some money goes out of his bank account, okay, he cannot come under the cyber crime. He cannot lodge the complaint under the cyber crime. Okay? Judiciary system is not at ready. So there are very few colleges. There are very few institutions wherein they do cyber law is being taught, or cyber law is considered as one of the branch of the law. There is criminal law, there is a social law, there is a whatnot law, but the cyber law is just comes as one of the subject, except for one or two institutions which is doing some research. One is Asian School of Cyber Law, which is situated in Bangalore. They do some work in this area, but apart from that, as a judiciary system, we are not ready. So I have talked with many of the advocates in Goa that they are not aware about the cyber laws. Okay, there are no cyber lawyers in Goa, or the people who are there, who call their cyber lawyers in Goa, they also do not know many of the things about the cyber laws. Okay, the biggest hurdle is this: it all depends upon the interpretation. Okay, and the last one is it all depends upon the acceptance of the digital proof. So I do not know how many court will accept the digital evidence as a proof against or for the case. And so these are the 5 challenges that legal system. This one, the social. Okay, this is where when I say challenges and there are social challenges, this becomes the cake for all of us who are in the research area. This is where the big thing is. So if there are these are challenges in social area, so we can do lots and lots of research in this, right? We are not yet ready. The population is not ready. Although we say young India, we are not ready. Second thing which I said in the first one, technology. We here also digital divide comes. We might say that we have got a smartphone, but we do not know how much we know about a smartphone, how to use that smartphone. I do not know. Third thing is, do I get a proper education to use the blockchain to operate upon the online transaction? How many of us knows how to transfer the money or how to perform a transaction using NEFT? How many of us are ready to accept the digital technology? Even today, if you ask me whether I want a check or whether they can transfer NEFT, many times I say depends upon who is the opposite party. I say please give me the check. In spite of the fact, I know that the check can bounce. Right? Penetration of the smart devices. Although we say that we have got a smart device, the numbers might be big, but how much many of us knows how to use them. The third thing, can we buy this? Can we buy this blockchain? You go to villages and see the situation in the villages. With the blockchain, of course, I can say that even if it goes to 20% of the Indian population, it's a big success. Even 5% of Indian population uses blockchain technology or goes for blockchain technology, it's a big thing. But the real business will come only and only when this technology goes to the villages, right? And the last one is mindset. Okay, and why I say mindset is because we talk about a quality. We talk about a quality. We talk about the repeated transactions. We talk about the trust. We talk about the security. And this is all virtual, and this all happens at the back end of the screen. And that's why this mindset is says such that we do not trust what we see on our smartphone or what we see on our desktop or what we see on our small handheld devices or on laptop. So that is again a mindset which is there. So the social challenge is the biggest opportunity for all of our this one to do this. We can do qualitative and quantitative research also. We have started this qualitative research in our institute as far as social thing is concerned, and we are very happy because there is a lot of scope and there is no one who has done a qualitative research in this field, at least in Asian subcontinent or in the third world where it was much required. Only few advanced countries have done this qualitative research, but otherwise no. So it becomes a big market for us to create this awareness, to do this research, right? The last one is research. So there are two things which I am saying as far as the research is concerned in context of India. Blockchain technology is not so far developed in India, so we might have some hiccups. Availability of research facilities is not as much available as we need. Okay, and dissemination of these research facilities. We go to the university, we might not get these facilities. Accessibility of data. So even if we go to corporate, I do not know how many Indian corporates will be willing to share the data for this. Availability of the experts in this area. When we were doing this research, I am facing a lot of problems. Okay. Luckily, one person which I know who is doing a lot of research in this area in blockchain and bitcoins, and he's a good friend of mine. Eventually, I can do some. I can get some expert opinion about him. So what could be the research there for the future? One is blockchain as a moderating variable could be the big one. So you can do a research in so many things, and you can see the blockchain as a moderating variable. It can be studied as a mediating variable and blockchain itself. So these are the three research gaps which are there. It can go from the private banks, can go to the cities, it can go to the villages also, right? So these are some of the things which I have used as the reference material for me. In addition to that, I got some more papers from where I got this information. I can share these papers with you. Nice, at least one paper you must read just to make me happy or just to make the organizers happy that okay, there is some amount of interest that is being generated in the people about the blockchain. Okay, right. So thank you very much. If there's any question and answer, I'm happy.
Vithalji, thank you very much. There are some questions which have been raised in the chat box. First is how to start a blockchain account. There is one query. Secondly, there is Mr. Vishwan who has asked a question that he's having an account with ZepPay, but he has not much invested because of the concerns of security. So what would be your advice on that? That is his question.
Right. First one first. ZepPay is a quite secure client or service provider. you can go and do it. We had, of course, just for the sake of having an account and just for the sake of doing how it works and so on. So we had something with them, and yes, they are secured one. We have also with some other parties. I cannot recollect that name when we also work, because we worked with them almost 2-3 years back. But some of these nationalized bank, some of these private sector bank, Yes Bank, ICICI Bank, they also can be one of these what you call this players in this. You can go and you can ask for them. Okay, so you can go to them, approach them, and they can be able to help you out with them. So that's why I was not, because you cannot right now, you cannot directly go to this miners or these service providers and get your account open. Best thing, as for me, what my experience is that better you go to your bank. And specifically, I took some names like ICICI, S Bank, or sorry, not S Bank, ICICI, HDFC. So please go to this and see whether they can help you out. And they should be able to help. That is a better, secure way to do it. Because otherwise, other players, uh, and that's why I do not want to name, because what happens is they might take you for the toss. They might go around. Of course, they will not harm you, but then as we say, whatever you can get for 20 rupees, you might get for 100 rupees. So that's what the thing is. And then I don't disclose this name because I don't want to get paid. So he told us X player, X service provider, and he has cheated. So I don't, because I do not say I do not trust them, but then better you find out for yourself. The best way, what I have done is I have gone to my bank and I have done it.
Vithal, there is one more question. Do
Yeah.
I need programming knowledge to become a blockchain miner? That's another question.
No, not required. Not at all required. Not at all. Only thing you have to, of course, some amount of knowledge about the security aspect and so on and so forth. If you can do that, good. But I will always say that please have some knowledge. Start reading about cyber laws, okay, which will help you out to a great extent. One. Second one is read about the technology. Right? That will help you out. But programming knowledge is not required. Okay. There are some people in the market who will help you out for this. It's not required. Not at all required.
Okay. Okay. There is one question from Mr. Danesh. What will be the kind of risk-return relationship in the context of blockchain? I believe he is looking also at Bitcoin. Probably, I'm not sure.
Can you please repeat?
What will be the risk-return relationship in the context of blockchain? I'm not sure whether he is intending blockchain itself or Bitcoin, but
no, I'm also not getting the question basically.
Mr. Ganesh, can you just clarify on the question, the chat box? In the meantime, we will go to the next question. There is a question from Relita Fernandez. Do you think blockchain can be used to increase transparency with respect to supply chain management?
Yes, the supply chain management is one of the hottest application of blockchain. There is a lot of transparency that is happening. The transparency is not at the cost of security. I can tell you most of these big players, and specifically I can tell you Volkswagen. Okay, so they are gone for this one. Toyota has gone for this, and there's a good amount of transparency that is happening over there. So that is, it will increase the transparency, but some of the organization also would like to keep that opaque so that the entire organization game is not been disclosed to the supplier, because you cannot trust anyone. But yes, I'd say transparency is one of the things of blockchain, and specific to supply chain management. Yes, it is happening, and because some of my friends are working in some of these European companies which has got the shops in India. They say, and they have and I will verify that transparency is there without losing any of the thing as far as the security and trust in that in blockchain.
Are there any other questions? If we don't have.
Yeah, that question which was not very clear. As he replied
Yeah,
that.
I think the gentleman has not clarified on this question later on, so I'm not sure whether we'll be able to answer it.
Yeah, this is one thing which I was thinking how the fishing will not come when it is a Goa and Kerala. So there's a nice question which says that in unorganized sector like fishing industry. See, I'm sorry to say, so far blockchain has not developed in India to go and answer the questions of the small players and the fishing, although it is a big industry, but it is an unorganized sector. I'm sorry, it is not yet been done. It is not done. And of course, I have also not done much. Thanks for this, so that we can also work in unorganized sector as far as blockchain is concerned. So that can become a very research team. But sorry, it is not yet done as far as the unorganized sector is concerned. Might be because the big brother IT department comes into the picture. Could be one of the reasons.
Okay, I think we have the clarity from Mr. Danesh. What will be the risk-return relationship in the context of blockchain, just when comparing it with Bitcoin? I think, yeah. Please carry on. Please carry on.
So first and foremost, let me clarify: Bitcoin and blockchain are two different technologies. These are the two different technologies which is there. Only thing is that because they are very technological savvy, okay, and blockchain needs something which is online or the virtual money to play around. Bitcoin becomes the natural choice for the blockchain technology to accept. But otherwise, blockchain can operate on its own without Bitcoin till it finds the substitute for Bitcoin technology. Bitcoin can work on its own as far as the blockchain is concerned. But when they do a handshake, it becomes more trustworthy, it becomes more secure, and in the transaction becomes much better and faster. So that's what the thing is. But I'm sorry, both are not same. Both are not same. If Bitcoin can get another partner, it can do a handshake with that. If blockchain gets another partner, it can do a handshake with that also.
Are there any other questions from the participant side? I think Professor Vithal has delivered a wonderful talk on blockchain. I just remembered the days when we were together at IIM and the kind of time management which you had, you strictly followed in this situation as well. Thank you for that. I have been a pleasure to listen to. Now, let me welcome Mrs. Ashwati, the coordinator of this program, to officially give away the vote of thanks. Thank you, Vithal, once again.
Thank you.
Hi all. My responsibility is to give vote of thanks. First, I thank Vithal sir. It was really a new experience for us. We are grateful for taking us through a ride of blockchain technology, its scope and threads. I thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the department and everyone else. Next, I thank the principal, Dr. Unnikrishna Pilla, and IQAC coordinator, Dr. P.S. Parameswaran, for their presence and support on behalf of everyone. Then I thank the Commerce Department's HOD, Dr. T.R. Anil Kumar, for encouraging us in every other way to hold beneficial programs like these. And I thank my colleagues who have been with me from the inception stage of this event. I am also thankful to the teachers, research scholars, and students of ST College and other institutions. The equally important are the participants. I believe that other than from Kerala, we had participants from other states and countries as well. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of this webinar. Thank you. Thank you all.
With this, we officially conclude the webinar. On behalf of SG College and all assembled over here, let me once again thank Professor Vithal for such an interactive session. I hope we will have much more opportunities to associate. I am also thankful to some of our classmates, Vithalji. They have also been there. So let me take this opportunity, informally at least, to thank each one of our all classmates for attending this webinar. Thank you. Thank you all. Vithalji, I'll get in touch with you through phone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So can I log out now?
Sure. Thank you.
Ma'am, can you hear me? Hello?